And this is how you would use it to pour the coffee. Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today I'm going to show you how to make an easy DIY Hobo Coffee Pot. Stay tuned. For this project you're going to need just a few simple items, a couple of wire clothes hangers, you're going to need a nail, whatever size you want, a pair of pliers, and then a number 3 tall can. This had tomato juice in it. The first thing you need to do if you're going to use this to make coffee in or cook in is you want to put this in a hot fire and get it nice and red hot and burn out as much of this lacquer liner in here that you can, and then just take a scrub pad or some sand and gravel and scour that out. And that's going to keep you from getting any of that in your drink when you heat it up. You're not going to get all of it out, but it will definitely help. Now, if you do that, you're going to have to oil this lightly to keep it from rusting as you use it, but again, that's not a big deal. You can always make another one. Next, we need to form a spout. And the best way to do that is to simply take the can and begin to squeeze it like this with your hand. And you'll notice that when you squeeze it, it kind of dimples in there a little bit. So you can just go ahead and keep squeezing it like that. And you'll see that without too much effort, it makes a pretty decent spout. And you can refine that however you wish. It can be as narrow or as large as you want it to be. I don't want mine super narrow, so something like that is going to work just perfect for me. Next, we need to make a couple of holes for the bail handle. Now, how you do this is you want to pick this up and you want to see where the balance point is. Okay, so kind of like this. You can just test it with your hands, kind of see where that is. So again, somewhere right in here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want your pot to hang somewhat level when it's on the fire. So once you kind of figure out where that is, you want to take the nail, place it right in that spot, and you want to come down, maybe ½ an inch or something like that. Now you can use a rock, you can use a hammer, but a pair of pliers works really well for a hammer, as this is really light material. So once you get that placed where you want it, just simply tap it through. It will go through quite easily. Wiggle it around a little bit like this. And then you want to take the pliers, because this has a sharp edge on it, and you want to crimp that down. And just flatten all of those edges, and you can tell when you get that done because it's going to be decently smooth. Not perfect, but it's not going to catch on your finger any. So you do that, and then we'll do one exactly opposite on the other side, and I'll get back with you. Alright, now that we have that done on both sides, you can see the hole across from each other here, and they do line up. Then next we take one of our wire hangers, and using the wire cutting portion of the pliers, just go ahead and cut that in too. Sometimes you can just score it a little bit. Again, some pliers are better than others at doing this, but again, just scoring it works fine, and then you can just break it off. So you end up with this. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and just straighten this out the best you can, all the way across. And here again, the pliers will come in really handy, as it will help you with those curves. You go ahead and just do like this, and again, this doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Just going to be something that you would use, that a hobo would do to make a coffee pot. Next, we take our pliers, and the very end of this wire, we're going to put a curve in it like that. You can make this fairly extreme, but it needs to look something like that. Now we come to the outside of the can. You don't want to go from the inside, you want to go from the outside, and put that hook in there just like that. And for the time being, we're going to leave it. Once you get that hook in there, come down so that it's vertical, and using your thumb strength, put your thumb here and bend it up like this to a 90-degree angle. Then you want to come around the back side of it just like this, using the curve of the can to kind of shape and mold that for you. And then you can kind of bend it yourself. It's like this, so that that curve stays in there. And then on the other side, directly below the hole, we want to go ahead and do the same thing. Put the thumb here and then bend it up like this at a 90-degree angle. So that should be fairly parallel with that hole. Now this is obviously much too long, so we're going to clip this off. You can see what that looks like. Now we have to make another small bend right here in this other wire. Just like that. And you want to make this so that it goes inside of the other hole. You may have to push on it a little bit to get it bent over. And once you get it bent in good, you can take the pliers and it'll get a grip on it, and you can flatten that out. You can do the same thing to the other side if you wish, but this is basically what it's going to look like. Adjust this a little bit, get this a little tighter, make this curve a little nicer. And what we want it to do is we want it to nest and have enough tension on it that it will stay closed when we pack it. So just kind of mess with that curve a little bit and you'll get it to where it will sit in there pretty good, and it doesn't take up any space then when you are trying to pack it away. So ideally, when you get this part of it finished, it should nest nicely around the back side, and both of your handles should be pretty well parallel. And the beauty of this design is that with this curve, not only does it nest well, but when you hang it on a stick over a fire, it will naturally center itself for your coffee. So it wants to hang level all the time. So that works really well. Next, going to the very back, so directly opposite the spout, we want to put another hole similar to the other one. Just like that. And then again crimp it down. Then next we take the lid and we put a hole in it, not real far from the outside edge. Again, you can kind of determine where you want to do this. It might be easier to do it from the inside, but we're going to come fairly close to the outside here, and we're going to put just one hole. Just one hole in there. And then, as always, crimp your edges down. Also, while we're in the middle of this project, make sure and don't forget to go online to our website, waypointsurvival.com, where you can sign up for our $50 online digital survival class. This includes the top 20 survival skills that I teach in my Phase 1 class. A lot of you can't come to the class in person, and this is a great way for you to enjoy doing that class in your backyard or in a local park, wherever you can get permission to start some fires and have some fun in the outdoors. Next, we take the hook portion that we cut off, and we're going to take a small piece of that. Doesn't have to be very big. And we're going to make a complete loop out of this. So we're going to start and just start rolling this over. Once you get a pretty good little loop made and you don't close it completely off, you're going to take this and you want to thread it through that hole in the very back side of the can that we made earlier, just like this, and then also through the lid like this. Okay, so you can see them crossing over like that. Then you take the pliers and you completely close that loop. Now you can make this loop as big or as small as you want, but what this does in effect is this gives us a nice lid for our coffee pot. You can flip over for cleaning, and it will help it heat up quicker by keeping the heat in. It's large enough on there that you can still use the bail, as you can see, and it's easy to take care of. Next, you want to find a stick that's about the diameter of your thumb, and then centering what's left of the wire. Now you may not have enough wire, which is why we had 2 clothes hangers in case we needed a spare, but kind of center it on what's left here of the wire, and you want to come around this like this as much as possible, and go ahead and cross them a little bit here, and then just maybe give it a little bit of a twist to lock that in. So what you're going to end up with is a loop. Next we take our loop, and I did switch to the other hanger just because it's a little easier to do. We want to go down here on our can, maybe a third of the way from the bottom. Now it's very important when you do this that you make sure that when this comes down that this doesn't hit that loop. Okay, so there needs to be plenty of clearance. Shouldn't be any big deal doing that, and you want to try to keep it directly in line with this here. So you want to center that loop. Then coming around the front, go ahead and pull this as tight as you can. Give it some strength there. Pull that tight. Ideally, we don't want a big gap here in the back, so we're going to be pushing this in and pulling this together, and you'll work with us a little bit until you get everything nice and tight. I'll do that and get back with you. Once you get that nice and tight around there and here in the front, you want to go ahead and twist this, and you want to be very careful about this. Put some weight on it, and we're going to twist this in 2 or 3 times. Again, whatever you would like. And you can take the pliers and grab a hold of it like this and really start to crank down on it. Now remember, this wire is fairly fragile, so you can break it, but what we're doing is we're putting a lot of tension on here. Now that we've got that nice and tight, we're going to go ahead and clip these off. And then you want to take this that's sticking out and you want to bend it over or down, doesn't really matter. And you may have to actually get it started and then pound on it a little bit to get it flat. And now that it's finished, you can see what it looks like. We've got our bail handle, and then our loop here in the back, and this is how you would use it to pour the coffee. Of course, you could put a stick in here if that's hot. Again, up here, or a pair of gloves. We have a nice lid that is attached, and even for traveling, if you want, you can put it down inside like that, and that will fit well too. But this is a very compact, very easy to make. Without filming it, I could probably do this in 10 minutes maybe. So, makes a really great coffee pot. It's a fun project, something that's easy to make from just a cast-off can and a couple of wire hangers. So, project that you might want to do, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also make sure and check out the links in the description box below, just under the More button. While you're down there, you'll also find our waypointsurvival.com link. This is where you can sign up to take survival and bushcraft classes at our beautiful training facility in Southern Ohio. And don't forget to pre-register for our $50 online digital survival class that's going to be launching here in the 1st of March. We're really looking forward to getting that class out there for you, and thank you to everybody that's signed up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. When you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.